Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the latest WildArt event, which is the announcement of our winners for colour. As you will see, I've got William Steele with me, and we'll get talking to William in a little while. And obviously, we've got some guests lined up, and we're going to be sharing some fantastic photography. So I hope we'll have well, I'm sure we'll have a really enjoyable evening of sort of chat and photography as we usually do. So William, colour, again, was, well, I keep saying this every month, don't I? We had some amazing entries, but it's true. I mean, we just had an incredible selection of images again, as people will have seen from the top 100. I mean, it was amazing. You had a really tough job, didn't you, cutting those down to 100 in the first place?
Certainly did, and I think what made it even more challenging was the sort of variety of subjects. We had everything from insects to birds to big mammals as well, which you sometimes don't think of as being color-based, but some very interesting and unique images that I don't think we've seen before in competitions, which is always great.
Yeah, it's always, I mean, that's what judges like, don't they? I've said this before, you know, they like original stuff. You know, that's what makes you look at the, you know, look at the image again. If you're looking through hundreds of pictures, you need something that stands out and makes you stop and look. And I think we have plenty of those.
Absolutely. I mean, it's that thing of like, you can scroll through Instagram and you'll see so many similar images, but they'll always make you stop. And it isn't always the most, you know, incredibly lit image, or it's not the most, you know, technically brilliant image, but if it's different, it will make you look twice. And I think that often happens in competitions.
Yeah, and we've been blessed with plenty of those in WildArt this year, and well, I'm looking forward to next year, I have to say. You know, we'll see what comes around. Some new categories coming. I mean, only you know, it's not a wholesale change, as people will see if they tune in next weekend. You know, because there's some categories that work really well from the point of view of some amazing photography. So, you know, that's what it's all about. So, and I don't want to burn the whole list of categories that I've got written down that I want to do over a period of time. You know, we're going to, you know, so we can spread those out over the next few years, because, you know, this competition's here to stay. You know, and I'm determined that it's going to be, you know, it's going to be up there with, you know, with some of the really big competitions. You know, and I want to, you know, this is all about a community, as I keep saying, for me, and developing a community. So anyway, I'll stop prattling on. A couple more people saying hello. Ben Pullett says hello. Hi, Ben. You'll remember him, our Silver Award winner from Motion. And Eli Porat from Israel, he says hello. You'll remember Eli from, you know, our young winner from Motion. So I hope you're well. And Yari Peltomaki, photography. So Yari and Kaiser say greetings from, hold on, there's so many people saying hello. Greetings from Eagle Owl Hide. He messaged me today, Yari, and said it's -20 or something. So it's pretty cold. Chapa Takoli says, oh, perfect. What a perfect place to be. Yeah. And Simon Runting says, hi from New Zealand again. I've got a shining cuckoo in the bush a few meters away. You can go off, people.
Yeah, well, what I find amazing,
Hello,
I mean, even in the chat, we've got so many people from so many different parts of the world. Congratulations that some of them are either up already or staying up this late.
Yeah.
But it's amazing to be able to connect with people like that.
Yeah, no, it is. So hello to Simon, and I hope I think he did email me earlier and said he's going to be enjoying it from his deck again. I think if you remember the last live, there was a message from him saying he sat on his deck. So yeah, there's no sitting on any decks in the UK at the moment because it's blooming freezing. But anyway, there we are. The conservation cause, William, you supported Botswana predator conservation, conservation, yeah. Tell people a little bit about them, because we raised, I think it was a total of £169. So tell people what that money will be doing.
Well, they're a fantastic organization here, or not here. I'm actually in South Africa at the moment, but in Botswana, which is my home country, and a place that is very close to my heart. And they're doing a huge amount of work, as the title suggests, with predator conservation, not only looking at ways to protect the wildlife and also make sure that the land is conserved, but also working with local people to stop human-animal conflicts, trying to find new and interesting ways to, reinvent how conservation is done, and that's inclusive with local populations. And I think that's the key to moving forward. So I actually saw yesterday, I believe, one of the people from the company has gone into a local village, and they're setting up an electric fence around their farm to stop, things like elephants coming in and destroying their crops. So rather doing that than letting these communities take it into their own hands to try and get rid of the wildlife, rather work with them to solve the problem.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay, so that money will be winging its way to them shortly. You'll have to let me know how I can, how I can pay them that. So, thank you to everybody who's entered, colour and allowed us to raise that money. Next year, I want to, I don't stand still, as people know by now. So I want to up the game again, from the conservation point of view. And I've been toying with the idea of, a charitable foundation, the WildArt sort of charitable foundation, where, perhaps we can raise more money from, people donating that, read a wild read, for example, and might donate £1 or something like that. Those are the sorts of ideas that are in my head. So all that money goes, to conservation, because those sorts of elements of the community, the WildArt community, aren't there to make me money. They're there for you to enjoy, and hopefully to do some good for conservation, both in terms of, raising a bit of money perhaps, but more importantly than that, is raising awareness, about some of these, the plight of some of these species, and some of these organizations which are doing great work. And I hope that, the conservation causes that we've supported throughout the year, people, I mean, some of them I wasn't aware of myself. So hopefully, the competition has not only given them, some money, but it's also given them a platform to get in front of people that perhaps hadn't heard them before. Shall we bring on our first guest? So as I said, I've changed this sort of the running order around a little bit from when we started. I don't like to keep people waiting, to be honest. And at the beginning of the year, we were keeping people waiting too long. So let's, as is tradition, bring on our young winner first. So shall I? Yeah, let's bring him on first, and then I'll share a screen with everybody. Now, we've spoken to this chap before, so I'm going to bring in D'Artagnan to the meeting, and we'll have a quick chat with him. So let's let him in. Hopefully next year with the new system, this will be a bit sort of less clunky. D'Artagnan.
Hi.
Good evening. Well, it's good morning there in New Zealand, isn't it? It's 8 o'clock or 8:15 in the morning with you on Monday. So thank you very much for for sort of spending your Monday morning with us.
No problem.
And it's nice to talk to you again, because obviously you've won a couple before, which were light with that, if people remember, that amazing glowworm in the cave image, and your lovely abstract image of New Zealand flax, which you told me off air is currently flowering.
Yeah. So we've got like big stems of flowers coming out, and it sort of branches off into more like little flowers, and then the tuis come and they land on the stem, and then they work their way up the flowers. And
Well, I hope you've been photographing them.
Yes, I have been. I've been busy. I just downloaded my photos yesterday, actually.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Right. Let me share your winning image, D'Artagnan, William and I have a chat, and then we'll come back and have a chat with you again. You know the form by now. You've been here a couple of times. So I will just share a screen, and we'll share your image. Let me just make sure I'm on the right. Yeah, I'm on the right page. So here we go. So let me share this screen. That one there. Okay. So hopefully everybody will see this amazing close-up feather detail shot. So William, why this one over everything else?
It was just something completely different. You know, I had an idea in my head of what people were going to enter into the competition. And you sort of think that you're going to get certain images that fit the criteria. And this was an image that the details, the colors, the tones, the way all that works together was just, yeah, amazing. It was one of those.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the detail in it is incredible, isn't it? And a lot of these sort of, you know, the close-up feather detail shots, we see quite a lot of them, and not many work quite as well as this, do they? I mean, they're a bit like we were saying about motion when you're taking images of things moving with a slow shutter speed and panning. A lot of these sorts of things don't work too well. It's very, very difficult to get a pleasing composition when you're working with things sort of so close up like this, and you're working with details. So this really sort of ticks the box from a compositional point of view, a lighting point of view. There's so much, you know, going on in there. It's an incredible image. D'Artagnan, why don't you give us a bit of background to it?
So this was down in Wellington, which is the capital city of New Zealand. So this was taken about 2 years ago when I went down there for a trip, like a birding trip. And this was taken at Zealandia Eco Sanctuary, which is like a big sort of valley in Wellington, where they've restored all the native bush and stuff, and they've reintroduced lots of native birds that are endangered. So there was a pair of takahe that I came across while I was walking around in like a little clearing, and they were eating the grass like they do. And they're very relaxed, and they just sort of walk around. So I lay on the ground and I waited for one to approach, and it came up to me. So instead of zooming out and going for like a full body shot, I zoomed right into the like the side of it, and yeah, got that photo.
So what was the lens?
It was a Tamron 150 to 600.
Right, and so were you at the sort of right at the far end of that 600?
Yeah.
So what are you sort of 8 feet away or something like that?
I don't know. We work in meters in New Zealand.
Right, 2.5.
Yeah, so around that probably.
Yeah.
And that was also on a crop sensor as well, so it's like 900 mil full frame or something.
Yeah. Oh, brilliant. No, it's amazing to have, you know, to be able to see those things as well. I've been blown away by people's photographic brains actually as we've been going through this process, and every time we talk to people and sort of try and tease apart what was going through their minds as to how they put these images together, I'm always really interested in that, you know, because everybody sees things differently. And you've obviously got a very, very good photographic eye because of the different things that you've entered throughout the course of the year. If you think about the 3 images that you've obviously done very well with in the competition, they're all completely different. You know, was it 8 minutes that shot with the glowworms? So the 8 minutes long exposure through to an abstract image of a plant in your garden, through to, you know, a feather detail shot like this. You know, they're all so different. So no, congratulations. That's a beautiful image. Let me just catch up with a couple of comments, because you know, there are a few coming in. So Fred von Winkelmann, he says, hi there guys. So hi Fred, nice to have you on again. Where are we? Eli Porat says, many congratulations, D'Artagnan. Ben Pullitz, top job. And Chabatakolu, nice one, D'Artagnan, congratulations. So yeah, I think there's plenty of love for that image coming in, and rightly so. Shall we stop sharing that screen, as nice as that picture is, and then we can bring you back up larger on the screen? As I said, next year I won't have this problem. I'll be able to keep the image up, and we'll be able to see you still. So let me stop sharing the screen, and we'll bring you back up large again. So we were discussing off air, obviously, that we've got a final judges meeting on Tuesday next week, when we'll be obviously choosing the young winner as well as the adult category. Well, the overall adult wild art photographer of the year as well. So yeah, it's getting close. You've got 3 images in there.
Yeah.
Which,
looking forward to it.
Yeah, so William, that should be a really interesting discussion. So shouldn't it? I'm really looking forward to Tuesday.
Congratulations again, D'Artagnan. I mean, to get 3 in there is incredible, and it shows how good your eye really is. So congratulations. We'll see how it all turns out.
And William, we were chatting beforehand, weren't we, about how a lot of the images that were entered in the young section would have done well in the adult categories. You know, they would have competed some of these pictures.
Absolutely. I mean, and that's the exciting thing, seeing, you know, young photographers like yourself coming up. We're all getting a bit scared now entering competitions, because this is the competition coming up. So,
yeah.
Well done.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we've had some really beautiful stuff. So many congratulations, D'Artagnan.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Just before you kick me off, can I just say, you can follow me on Instagram at D'Artagnan Sprangle Photography if anybody wants to see more of my photos.
Yeah, of course. So give them that again if they missed it.
Got it.
Or put it in.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, D'Artagnan. Why don't you put it in the chat afterwards? Put it in the chat so people can see it.
Yeah.
So that would probably be a good idea. But yeah, go and follow D'Artagnan. Yeah, absolutely. So, in fact, Jan Pieker has put it up for you. He's put it in.
Thank you.
Well done, Jan. You'll remember Jan, of course, is a winner of a backyard category. So couple more comments before I do kick you out of the meeting. I said next year it'll be a much nicer experience next year.
Yeah.
So where are we? Oh God, they're coming in all the time. Right, so Martin Ertner says, congratulations, very nice image. Thank you, Martin. Deepa Girish says congratulations. Jan Pieker gives you a smiley winky face. And Brad James says, huge congrats, D'Artagnan, and so inspiring to have young photographers like yourself capturing such gorgeous images. Keep up the amazing work. Well, hear to that. And well, I think as it's a winner, you know, we ought to toast it properly. So congratulations. And yeah,
I can't drink wine yet.
Well, I know it's and the other thing is it's 8 o'clock in the morning. So I'd be worried. Anyway,
I'm also on the water at the moment, so we can cheers to that.
Yeah, cheers. D'Artagnan, it's been wonderful to talk to you again. Well done on all the amazing photography that you've been coming up with over the year. And thanks for supporting the competition. You know, I hope to see you in the entrance again next year. But as I said, who knows? We might be having a chat, you know, depending on the outcome of the overall judging. You know, we might be having a chat in a couple of weeks. Who knows? But there you go. Lovely to talk to you again.
You too.
Thank you so much for spending the time. I hope, go and enjoy your Monday. I'm sure you will. It's probably a good start to the week.
Yeah.
So, as I said, I'm going to remove you from the meeting as we've done before, but don't take it personally. D'Artagnan, lovely talking to you again. And we'll talk to you soon, no doubt.
Congratulations again.
Okay. What a lovely young man. I mean, all our young winners have just been, as I think I said before, you know, they're so sort of driven, focused, they're so inventive and articulate, and it's been, you know, that's been not a surprise, but it's been incredible to watch it over the course of the year, and these sort of young careers taking off. So fantastic, excellent.
Brilliant.
Let's have there are a couple more comments. Oh, Ben Pullett's, I've got a couple of beer glasses. Well, I hope you've got one on the go, Ben. It's the right time of the evening for you, after all. Mohammed Murad says, congrats, D'Artagnan. Thank you, Mohammed. You'll remember Mohammed, obviously, who was our gold and bronze winner last month in motion with such an amazing, amazing set of images he entered in that category. And Marion Linus says, a very happy grandmother watching it with you. Well done. So, isn't that nice? Fantastic. Right, should we bring on another guest?
I think we should.
And in fact, I've got the guest that we were waiting for in the waiting room as well. I see him. So yeah, he knows who he is. So anyway, let's bring on Rick, who is our Wild Planet Photo Magazine winner. So they picked an image which we'll share with you in a second from the top 100. So let Rick in and we'll have a quick chat. Here he comes. Rick.
Yep.
Good evening.
How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing well, thank you. And you?
I'm good.
Good. Rick, I will share your image. William and I'll have a chat about it, and then we'll come back and have a chat with you. I think you know the form by now, but well done on the on winning our Wild Planet Photo Magazine award. Let me share your image with everybody, and we'll come and have a chat with you. So let's just share the screen, and you will see D'Artagnan's picture up briefly, and I'll move it on. I'm always glad when I get these in the right order. And these, I've got to get this right because I sent Rick a certificate and I got the name of the bird wrong. I called it a red-legged honey eater when it's a red-legged honey creeper. So apologies for that, Rick. I'm glad. But is it a Costa Rican?
Costa Rica, yeah.
Yeah, Costa Rican bird. So, William, what made this stand out for you, and why did you pick it for the top 100?
It's an image that's full of color, but not only color, but it's also the interaction, which I think is absolutely fantastic. We had a lot of entries of beautiful birds, and to be awarded and to be in the top 100 is incredible anyway. But this was an image that kind of stood out. It had the colors work very well together. The interaction's great. It's pin sharp, and it's just a really beautiful image to look at. Yeah.
It's so nicely balanced as well, isn't it? We see quite a lot of this sort of stuff where you've got two birds interacting, and a lot of things from Costa Rica and in that part of the world in general. But and to stand out with one of those images, it has to be pretty special. And this is pretty special. As you said, you've got those birds in the same focal plane. You've got them with their beaks open. They're in the right position. I mean, that's just a tremendously difficult thing to do. Tremendously difficult thing to do.
I mean, well, obviously to Rick just now, but that sort of the timing where everything comes together is a handful of times throughout several years when everything comes together, and this shot has that feeling of just a perfect moment, a perfect timing, and just a beautiful image. And as you say, the composition's great because you've got these two angled forms that sort of lead you throughout the picture, which is great. And then the branch pulls you back around again, and it's a beautiful sort of circular arc in the middle.
I want to put a speech bubble in the middle. I used to play around with a few of those things. You probably remember from Bird Photographer sometimes with images like this, but really lend themselves to doing that sort of thing. But no, what an amazing picture. It's Rick, give us a bit of background to it, and because presumably you sat in a hide here.
No. So in June this past year, I went down to Costa Rica, and we visited several different lodges, and most of the lodges in Costa Rica cater to bird photographers. And so I wish I could say I trekked through the rainforest to get this image, but most of the lodges have feeding stations. And so these birds were just off on a branch nearby the feeding station. And I think they were just kind of arguing about, who was going to get into the feeding station next. And I took this with a Nikon D500 and a 500 millimeter handheld lens.
Yeah. No, I mean, but it's incredible though, isn't it? I mean, I do a lot of stuff with the birds in the garden, but it looks as though it should be relatively straightforward to take, but it's not. To get those two birds in that pose at the same time is, you would have taken thousands of pictures to get this shot. I mean, I hate to think how many pictures you took on that trip.
Oh yeah, probably about 10,000.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Maybe more.
Yeah, it's what they call a target-rich environment, isn't it, Costa Rica?
Oh yeah. We had great stuff. Birds, snakes, frogs. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, it's on my wish list. And in fact, excuse me. In fact, Gail Bisson has just gone to Costa Rica for a week or so, I think. So we just managed to sort of get that live in before last weekend about the book before she left. So I think she's enjoying herself from her email she sent me the other day. So wonderful place, definitely on my list to visit, and I'm sure a lot of people watching have actually been as well. So what a lovely image. And as I'm saying to everybody, Rick, thank you so much for your support for the competition throughout the year. It really means a lot. I mean, I enjoy entering these contests, and the way you have this new format with a monthly thing, it's a lot of fun to do.
Yeah, and as I said, this is, for me, this is about building a community. So it's not just about the competition as we go forward through next year, I think everybody's sort of getting the idea now anyway. We do a lot more. So these live events, I'd never really planned to do them. They just happened organically, but people seem to enjoy them. And so I want to, basically develop those next year. So we go just beyond the competition itself, and we start talking about conservation and nature in general, and perhaps giving people a few ideas and how they can develop their own photographic techniques and their own photographic journey, because this is what it is for me. I mean, as photographers, we don't ever like to stand still, do we? We're always looking for new things to do, because that's what makes it so much fun. I know you're the same.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Let's stop sharing the image, as nice as it is, and let's bring Rick up larger on the screen again, and then I can share any comments that there may be. So let's have a little look. Oh yeah, a few. Hang on a minute. I gotta rewind the comments. Hold on. Okay, so Simon Runting says, well done, D'Artagnan. So that's obviously previous image. Okay. Martin Ertner, so I like the position of the birds there. Well done, Rick. Brad James, congrats, Rick. Great interaction between these vibrant birds. Chaba Takoli says, Costa Rica can be particularly demanding on hard drives. Great image. Congrats, Rick. And Mohammed Murad, I would love to visit Costa Rica. Congrats, Rick. So yeah, plenty of love for that image. That is for sure.
Thank you.
Yeah. So Rick, thank you for spending the time to come on and have a chat. It's been nice to actually meet you at last.
I've been following you for quite a few years through Bird Photographer and after this. So no, we've swapped a few emails over the years. So it's actually, this is what's been so great about this, is being able to bring people together and being able to have a sort of proper discussion and to talk about images and to share them with everybody. That's what I've really loved about being able to do it through these sort of live broadcasts. I mean, this sort of thing wasn't possible a few years ago. It's amazing how things move on, and and I never saw myself doing this, but I've really enjoyed it. I've really enjoyed it, as I think you can tell, and it's just so nice to be able to talk to everybody. So
as I said, thank you so much for the support for the competition. It's really appreciated. Thanks for spending the time to come on. And let's hope well, I'm sure we'll talk again.
I hope so.
Yeah. And if you do have any ideas for live events or whatever, then let me know and we'll see what we can do.
I will.
Be nice to do something on Costa Rica, for example. Yeah. But anyway, Rick, lovely to talk to you. Congratulations on Wild Planet. I'll sort that prize out with them and get them in touch with you. As I do with everybody, I'm just going to remove you from the Zoom meeting. It's just easier for me to do it that way. But
Sure.
Lovely to talk to you. And hopefully we'll talk again soon.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
All right, Rick.
Congratulations, Rick.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay. Take care. All
right. Bye.
All right. Okay. So that brings us on to the Cotton Carrier Award, and our Cotton Carrier Award winner is here. Hooray! Because he arrived late, and he told me he was going to be late anyway, but he's here. So let me bring on Amit Eshel, who we've spoken to before, if you remember, because he was our connection winner with those wonderful pumas. Amit, can you hear me? Our connection winner with those wonderful pumas. Amit.
Hello, guys.
Hi, how are you?
I'm in my car.
Good. Well, I was wondering whether the connection was failing. But I think I took you by surprise.
No, I was watching and getting ready.
Yeah.
But
I know there's a slight delay, isn't there, between the live and then the feed. It's about 10 or 15 seconds or whatever. So yeah, can't catch you out. Anyway, how are you? And thank you for the effort of joining, because I know, are you traveling at the moment or?
No, I'm at home.
All right.
This February, I'm at home.
Yeah, great. Amit, let me share your image with everybody. William and I'll have a chat, and then we'll come and have a chat with you. So let me just share this picture. So Amit is our Cotton Carrier Award winner. They picked this out from image out from the top 100. So let me share this picture with everybody. So you will see Rick's wonderful honey creepers, not eaters. And I'll move it on, and we'll share Amit's bear image. William, what sort of, well, I think again with all these pictures it's obvious pretty much, but what sort of stood out for you for this image, and why did it end up in the top 100?
Yes, this is an image that all of the judges, we had a look at it. We just loved the composition, the way it's laid out, the bands of color, which is so unique. They're not overpoweringly colorful, but they accentuate the whole scene, and the scene itself is absolutely beautiful. And I think a few of us said that this was our favorite bear image that had been entered so far throughout the year.
Yeah.
It's just a standout image, and I think every single judge that looked at this said, I would love to have that in my portfolio. That's always a good sign.
Yeah.
It's just a beautiful image.
And it's amazing, isn't it, the difference in styles and subject matter and the way people have used color, because it wasn't all just about these sort of great big splashes of color and really in your face. It was subtle uses of color as well, which we were looking for. And I think this is probably a prime example of that, with that sort of lovely splash of color across the sort of lower third of the frame, and that's that really is the color in this image. It's a lot different to perhaps Rick's image, with the colorful birds and some of the other things that will come on to show as well. So it's people's interpretation of the categories has been very diverse, and that's what we were after. So yeah, congratulations, Amit. This is this is a lovely image, and as William said, virtually I think every judge that, because we had, there were 3 of you, judging this category, and they all said they wanted it in their portfolio. They all said it was one of the, well, if not their favorite, one of their favorite bear images. And we've had a lot of bear images in the competition over the 10 months, as you can imagine. Amit, tell people a little bit about the background to this image, how you took it, etc.
So this photo was taken in Katmai National Park in Alaska last year, and it's I planned my trip to be there just in time for the peak of the fall colors, and it's really tricky because if you come a week earlier, sometimes it's not going to be very colorful, and if you come a week later, all the leaves are gone. So it's really tricky to get there just in the right time. And I was lucky to be able to be there. And for this image, I used the floating hide. I just took the float without the tent, and I kind of floated in the water with the bears. It was pretty fun experience to do it. Of course, you have to be careful, don't get too close.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it was really fun, and you just being with them in the water, in their habitat, the feeling. When I saw this bear standing in this spot, I knew I have to go wider. Don't try to get too close to the bear. And show the environment. And I must tell you that this environment is in risk right now. There is for the last 10 years, there is a big threat of pebble mine in this area that is, if it's gonna happen, it's gonna destroy the habitat. It's gonna affect all the life, the salmon, the bears, everything. And it's been on and off in court for the last 10 years, and they're still fighting about it. And this is something that everybody has to be aware of and fight against, because it's going to be, it's always, the fight between money and development and the wild places. And this is one of the last wild places on Earth. And hopefully it's going to stay like this. And I hope by showing people the beauty of the place, people will fight for it more.
Yeah.
So
see, that is the power of photography, isn't it? Images like this, that people, basically their jaws drop when they see them, and then you tell them the story. Well, we might not be able to take images like this for much longer because this place is under threat. For these reasons, that can do so much more than money alone, than throwing money at something. It's about raising awareness. It's about trying to get people to care, and inspiring people to care, to protect these things. We will do, I think what we will do, it's been in my mind, this is one of the things that I do want to do next year, is expand on this sort of theme and have a broader chat about photography and conservation, and how important it is in the battle, to save things like this. It is so important. Without bringing these things to people's breakfast tables, on their iPads and their phones, and in the new, they get sort of, they go under the radar, and then these things get lost, and it's just too late. But by inspiring people to care and trying to get them to protect these places by showing them what they could lose, it's just so important. So, what a fabulous background story to that image. And what a fantastic opportunity. And the other thing I think you said, Amit, was about going a little bit wider and showing things in context. And that's been a theme that we've talked about, over the sort of few months of the competition as well, is sort of getting people to look at photographic subjects in a different way as well, not always going in for the tight shot, because that's always the sort of it's my first instinct, and I have to check myself sometimes and think, no, I've got to think more broadly about the subject, and not worry about trying to get in really close and tight all the time, is put it into context. And this is an absolutely amazing example of that.
And what I think it also is adds to it as well, hearing the backstory, is the fact that you went there for the color. So it's quite, it's quite special that then it gets awarded within the same sort of color context. And this is an image that could have worked in space. It could have worked in plenty of environmental, categories, but it works also in other areas because the color is so striking. It's also those, I should have said this earlier, but the blues sort of balance that photo out. So you have this strip of color that draws your attention. But yeah, congratulations, Emmett, and thank you for sharing the backstory, because as you say, this is how we can draw attention to problems that the world is facing.
Let me stop sharing the screen a second. We'll bring you up bigger on the screen so everybody can see you. So I'll stop sharing that. Yeah, as I said, Amit, that was an amazing picture, or is an amazing picture. Let's just have a little look at the chat. Yeah, there are a few comments. Martin Ertner says, "Just wow! Congratulations, Amit." I think that sort of sums it up. Brad James says, hang on. These comments keep coming in. It keeps jumping around. Where did I get to? Brad James says, what a breathtaking scene. Well done, Amit. Mohammed Murad again. Congrats, Amit. Wonderful image. And Ben Pullitz, a great scene. Seagull is just the icing on the cake. Is that a gull, or is it on the right hand side of the frame? Yeah. What species? What species? Any idea?
Not sure. I'm not big on that.
I was looking. They're tricky, aren't they? Tricky little blighters, gulls. Yeah. Rick Beldegreen says, "Gorgeous shot, Amit." Obviously, we just spoke to Rick, so thank you, Rick. And Chabatakolu, fantastic shot, fantastic setting, bravo. So I think we can all echo that. That's for sure. Yeah, wow. Amazing picture. Let's have that discussion about conservation and photography more broadly next year. So what I'll try and do is on the WildArt website, what I'm going to do is there's a tab in the top corner on the main navigation bar which is which says a wild read. I think what I'm going to do is change that to community, put a wild read and a wild vision into that area, under that heading, and then we can post up the schedule for next year in terms of the live events, and post the videos, embed the videos on that page as well, so people can go back and have a look at that. But these are some of the things that I really would like to dig deeper into next year. Perhaps not away from the competition, but as an addition to the sort of competition stuff that we do, because I think it's a really, really important subject, and something which is very dear to my heart, and I'm sure pretty much everybody who's been entering the competition, and I know all the judges too, because a lot of their work obviously has been going towards the good of conservation. So
Amit, that's why we go out and bring those stories to show people around, because it's so important for people to know that there are so many places in risk, and we must work hard to conserve them before it's too late. Yeah.
And it's no good waiting. It needs to be now. We've been saying this for a long time. It needs to be now. We can't wait. Anyway, Amit, it's been lovely to talk to you again. Thank you so much for spending the time. Well done on an amazing picture again. And as I said, thank you for your support for the competition over the course of the year. It's it really is appreciated. Without the photographers entering images, obviously the competition doesn't work. So I appreciate everybody that's entered, prize winners, top 100 people. Even if you haven't made the top 100, I hope this competition is inspiring you to improve and do things, develop your photography, and who knows, next year. It's
yeah, and thank you guys for running the competition. It's such an amazing project, and it's so inspiring to see everybody photos every month. And we all thank you, and for the stage you give everybody, and just for bringing those important stories up for people to see them.
Well, we'll do more of it next year, as I said. So yeah, this is a, you know, it's a passion of mine, as you can tell, and so we'll develop things next year. So I'm sure we'll talk again. Amit, it's been lovely talking to you. Thank you for joining, and I'll sort the prize out with Cotton Carrier. You'll enjoy it. I said before, they sent me one, and I've been using it. It's a good bit of kit, actually.
Actually, I have one, but yeah.
Well, talk to them about it. You'll know then. If you've got one, you'll know. So anyway, I'm sure they'll talk to you about it. Great stuff. All right, Amit, lovely to talk to you again. And we'll talk soon, I'm sure. Okay. Stay safe.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
Thank you.
Right. Okay. So that brings us on to our bronze award winner. We'll do the commendeds and the highly commendeds after we've spoken to. We've got we've got someone to talk to. So I was going to say we have talked to you before, but not live. If people remember, I did I recorded an interview with Jan Piker, who won our backyard category. You'll remember, with that amazing image of a Balkan anemone, which he spent a week trying to perfect. So he told me. So anyway, perhaps we perhaps he'll sort of tell that story as well. But let Jan in, because Jan is our bronze award winner, and I'll admit him to the meeting. I'll share his picture, and we'll have a chat. Sometime tonight. There we are. Jan.
Hello.
Good evening.
Good evening. Nice to see you again.
Yeah, and you. It's nice to have you on live this time.
Yeah, it's great. Thanks for inviting me at 8 p.m., not a.m.
Did I say a.m.?
No, but
D'Artagnan.
yes.
Oh, D'Artagnan, yeah. I was going to say, did I get the invite wrong or something? No, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, what a top chap to come on at 8 o'clock in the morning on a Monday. Yeah, anyway.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, well, it's lovely. I said it's lovely to have you on live. Obviously, we chatted for quite a while last time when we recorded recorded that message, during the backyard awards, and obviously your gold winning image, and obviously we talked about lots of stuff, but let me share your picture with people, and we'll have a chat. I'll have a chat with William, and then we'll come back and have a chat with you. So first thing is, let me share a screen again with everybody, and we'll move it on from it's amazing. What an amazing picture that is. Anyway, move that on. And this is a raccoon. And I think you can tell instantly it's a raccoon. I think that's what we really liked about it, wasn't it, William? It's a silhouette, but it's instantly recognizable. Anyway, what really stood out for you, William, with this picture?
Yeah, as you say, Rob, I mean, as soon as we saw it, we're like, oh, a raccoon. And it's that feeling of then figuring out what the scene is and how the scene was captured as well. So your eyes drawn instantly to the shape that you figure out. And then there's these dashes of color that you sort of get lost in. It's like a fairy tale. And it's just such an interesting image that you can keep looking at, and somehow it becomes more and more interesting the more you look at it. Things like those bands of green colors all throughout, then you're thinking, how are those created? And it's a very unique way of bringing color into a subject. And we're obviously assuming that it's street lights or city lights, but that sort of intrigue in itself adds to the image.
Yeah, And well, I think there's quite a story to this as well. Yeah, Jan and I had quite a long conversation, a couple of months ago, about it, because Jan, you've been doing a project, haven't you? And tell people a little bit about, the raccoons and where you've been photographing them. Tell that story. And obviously this is one of a series of images that you've captured over, well, I assume months.
Yeah, that's right. I started this project about raccoons in Germany, I think 3 years ago, with a friend together, Dominik Janoschka. And yeah, a couple of months ago, I learned that people in England many people in England have no idea that we have raccoons in Germany, because
I had absolutely no idea. Yeah.
Yeah, you thought it's maybe Northern America, but we have them in Germany. And today I looked up the dates. It was 1934. When a ranger brought the raccoons to Germany, in central Germany, and right now we have a really big population. Some people like them, some people hate them, so it's always a discussion theme. And yeah, in my hometown in central Germany, we have plenty of them, but it's not that easy to find them because they are always active at night, just during the nighttime, and it's very hard to see them during daylight. And yeah, it all began with one single raccoon, and we always went to a very dark forest next to a creek and took photos of one raccoon. And after a time, or after maybe 2 or 3 months, we thought, okay, we have to find more locations, different locations, and so it all became bigger and bigger. And yeah, we had a very good place in a forest area where we observed raccoons maybe every evening or every second evening. And after a few weeks, there was a city festival, and the city festival was right at this place where we took our photos of the raccoons. So we were very lucky because the raccoons were living in these big oak trees, and in the background these are city lights, but it's a roller coaster.
Wow.
And it was only there for, I think, one weekend, and we were not able to do these photos all the time. It was only 2 days, and we knew they were there. And this photo is taken with a Canon 5D Mark III, not a mirrorless camera, because right now it would be really nice with this bright viewfinder to take photos. But over there, it was just dark. Inside my viewfinder, it was completely dark, and it was very hard to get a sharp image, because we only saw shadows moving around very quick, and the lights were just flashing all the time very quick, and it was completely hard to get the raccoon in the viewfinder, to get it sharp, and to get an image. So I was lucky because this raccoon is sitting next to a trunk, and this is a very typical behavior because they feel very comfortable when they are next to a tree. So it rested there next to this big trunk. You can see it on the left-hand side, this line.
Yeah.
So it just stands still for a short moment. I was able to find a focus because these eyes were in front of a bright part. And then, yeah, I took my photo.
Well, I heard that you used that word luck. And I said, I don't believe it so much in luck. It's you make your own luck. And I think like I've said to other people who've come on here and said, oh, I was lucky to get this picture. Well, you were in the right place at the right time. You've done your research on the species, on the location. So you've done all the hard work to put yourself in a position to actually take this image when the opportunity arose. And I think that is a big lesson for people. If you take away anything from the competition, is listening to the people that have won. They all pretty much put in some really hard work on the species and the locations, and they have an idea of what they want to take in their mind. They don't sort of just go out and just happen across things. Generally, they've got an idea of what they want, and they take advantage of situations when they present themselves. And this is another example of that. And it's hard work. You've worked really hard for this. I know we had a long discussion about last time about the raccoons in Germany and what you've been doing to photograph them and everything. I mean, you know, you've put a lot of work into this. It's not,
it's
you've not just gone out and snapped it. It's a lot of work.
Yeah, I think it's true, because I had to work during daytime, my normal work, then family time, and then
yes,
in the
because you got
evening
young
went to
family
bed.
as well, haven't you? Yeah.
Yeah, I have 2 children, 1 and 5 years old, and when everybody went to sleep here, I can go out and take photos. But the good thing is we are not in a hurry, because the raccoons are there and they come during nighttime, so I don't need light. I can go there now. Maybe I can find one, because right now it's very cold in December. They're not that active, but in summertime I can go there at 10 p.m., 11 p.m., 1 a.m. It doesn't matter. I can see them because I know where to go.
Yeah. No, fantastic. Well,
So
have they had sort of any
asleep.
Yeah, have they had sort of any detrimental effects? You know, the you know, the species actually doing so well. Are there any downsides to that?
Excuse me?
Are there any sort of downsides to raccoons actually doing so well in Germany? I mean, for example, I mean, I've quoted this one before. I mean, you know, the sort of non-native species coming in, such as the grey squirrel in the UK, you know, and obviously the red squirrel has suffered terribly because of that for one reason or another. Is there any have they had that sort of impact in any way?
Yes and no. It's still part of discussion, because the hunters, for example, and conservationists say, okay, yeah, big impact, we have to shoot them very hard. And some conservationists, or if you look at this at the research, very often you see, okay, raccoons they're eating vegetarian part, they're eating nuts, but they also eat vertebrates and insects and amphibians. And I think they're they do some damage at places where these ecosystems are really destroyed. For example, if there is only one pond left and it's not well structured, the raccoons, it's very easy for them to eat all amphibians. But if you have working ecosystems, they're not that hardly damaged by humans. The impact is not that big. So you cannot say yes or no, they have an impact. But studies say, okay, it's not that big as people in general say. And yeah, it all depends on these ecosystems and how well they are still, or how well they are structured. And
I mean, the thing is, you know, if something's been established for so long, you know, you're not, you know, it's going to be very, very difficult to eradicate it, even if you wanted to. And, you know, is it not a question of embracing? I mean, I know it's a controversial subject, but is it not a question of embracing the fact that they're now there and just accepting it, you know, and accepting
and
that
they're very intelligent.
So
they come to the bird feeders here. They go to the trash, and because I never saw them hunting. Normally they are collectors. They walk around, especially along the creeks or along the waterside, and they're just collecting for small things. Or sometimes they grab in a tree hole, but they're not quick hunters like a fox. More like a badger, for example, a climbing badger.
Climbing badger. Let's just catch up with a couple of comments. Chabatakolu says, the raccoon. I knew the moment you mentioned Jan. Great image, bravo. Brad James says, hold on, that's jumping around again. Truly magical image, Jan. Congrats. And Martin Ertner says, congratulations. As does Mohammed Murad. He says, very colorful. This is a hard shot to get. Yeah. Now there's, and he would know, because I know Mo's done a few very similar things with other species, you know, in similar ways with city lights in the background. I've seen some of those. So yeah, he'll know how hard that shot is to get. So yeah, no, that's a fantastic image. I'm going to stop sharing the screen for a second. We can bring you back up larger. It's nice talking to you, but I'm going to put you back in the waiting room while we deal with our silver award. I think people might guess why, but anyway, we might talk to you again in a minute. Yeah, I'm going to put you back in the waiting room, and
Okay,
then we're going to talk to Jan again, as I think people have already guessed. But let me pop you back. That is an amazing picture, by the way. When I saw that in the entries that came in, I just went, "Oh my word!" that's pretty special. Yeah, that's pretty special. Right, let me put you back in the waiting room, and we'll show people our silver award winner, and then we might come back and talk to you. Hold on. So we'll talk to you in a bit. Let's pop you back in the waiting room. Put in waiting room. There we go. Right. So our silver award winner couldn't be here, which is a real shame. You know, she was due to come on, and then she works you know, in the airline industry, and got a last minute call. So unfortunately, well, fortunately for her, I mean, in an industry that's really under pressure at the moment, she's working. So that's good news. But it's a shame for us, because I was really looking forward to having a chat with her about this image. So let me share this image with everybody. So share the screen. So you will see Jan's raccoon again, and then I will share the silver award image, which is by Daniela Onger from Germany. You know, this is another one of those images, wasn't it, William, that we just knew this was going to get an award, really. As soon as I saw this, I knew it was going to be popular. What stands out for you?
Yeah, I mean, as you say, we had so many amazing images entered into the category, and I found it hard enough to narrow it down to 100. Never mind, you know, getting into the handful of awarded images. But what stood out for me with this image was, although we had a lot of colorful birds within sort of top 20 or 30, this was a colorful bird that's almost outshone by the color in the background. And not only that, but the colors, you know, emphasize the bird, their similar color palette. It was just a really wow image. You sort of were taken aback at all these interesting colors, and the color themselves is what makes it. You know, some of the other images that we've shared tonight have been, the color has you know, emphasized the subject, or it's been the subject's color itself, whereas this is a combination of the two, which I think is just spectacular.
Do you know what this reminds me of? Almost, it's almost like a sweet shop, those sort of bright colors of the, you know, sort of almost sort of Willy Wonka's type, you know, sweet shop with all the jars and those sorts of things. That's what it reminds me of.
Yeah, well, I think I made the reference of Fruity Loops.
Yeah, yeah, you did.
Me of that. So it's that sort of real punch of color, but not in an offensive way and not in a oversaturated way. It's simply just color filling the full frame, which I think is so
and so Daniela sent me some words, and when I read those, I think it improves the image, if you see what I mean, because of the opportunity. And it's I've said this before, but it's all about taking opportunities when they present themselves and looking at things slightly differently. Excuse me. When you see or when you hear Daniela's story, I think that becomes clear. So I've printed it large enough so I don't need my glasses, because I just get so taken on and on. Anyway, so I'll read the words that Daniela's sent me, and I haven't, this is as she sent it to me. So she says, during the dry season, when we stayed in a posada in the southern Pantanal, their trees were full of fruit which attracted the toucans, and they love to hang around the gardens and buildings. In this case, wildlife comes to the humans, which is nice, as you don't need to camouflage yourself. Gentle movements are all you have to consider while photographing these beautiful birds. The rustic posada is offering sustainable ecotourism and practicing waste separation. Plastic trash bins in different colors were placed next to the restaurant. She says could have been hidden in a more, perhaps, in a more sophisticated place. When photographing, I always try to integrate the background as an important element to my image. In this case, I love to play with the colors and the light as an unusual background for the iconic bird. Even though it is not a natural setting, But like with urban wildlife, as soon as animals and birds decide to share the space with humans, it becomes part of their habitat. I would like to thank you and William and the other judges for all the effort. It must have been a lot of work. It was. Yeah, and that you have chosen my image out of a portfolio of stunning images. I'm very grateful and happy. Congratulations to all the other winners. I wish you a great Sunday evening and look forward to viewing at least the replay of the presentation in the coming days. So I'm sure you will, Daniela. So thank you so much for those words. You know, it means a lot, you know, and to have fantastic pictures like this coming into the competition. But again, it's the photographer's brain working. How many people would have seen the rubbish bins and decided to move away from that and not incorporate them in the shot? Probably most people. I think I would have thought that way as well. But to have thought, no, actually, I can see those colors in the background. You know, I know that the position of myself to the bird and the position of the background means that that's going to be out of focus in that way. So it's going to be, excuse me, not a clear representation of what's behind. It's going to be, you know, completely out of focus. You're not going to be able to see what it is. All you're going to do is get this sort of pop of color, these different colors coming in. Very clever, you know, and that's what sort of separates these images, these small margins. I keep talking about these small margins, separates these images that win awards and the others that just don't quite get there, because you have to do something that grabs the attention and is a little different. And this is a prime example of that.
Well, I mean, there's always that sort of stigma with photography being art and whether it's considered art or not. I mean, I remember when I was, you know, getting into it in the beginning, I would approach galleries and galleries would turn me down because, you know, photography isn't art. But this is a prime example of how artistic thinking can completely change a scene. As you say, it's turning around and looking at something completely different. And I mean, as you know, a lot of my work is with photographic hosting and guiding people and teaching them arts of photography. And it's a very challenging thing to do. You can teach people technical sides of things, but to teach them how to think about their images, think about the situation rather than just pressing a button is another challenge. And to have someone who's viewing the natural world in a completely new way is brilliant. And that's exactly why photography is so interesting, because you've got so many different minds looking at the same scenes. Incredible.
Exactly. It's not, you know, those images where people are stood next to each other in hides. And I mean, I've seen images in other competitions where I've almost mistaken one picture for somebody else's because they were almost identical. Same bird doing the same thing, taken from the same height. They must have been stood next to each other. Yeah. Those images are brilliant. And there's nothing wrong with taking those and enjoying them, because photography is all about taking what you want to take and enjoying what you want to enjoy. But if you're thinking about competition photography, it needs something a little different. You know, you need to think just a little bit differently to everybody else and approach it in a different way to stand out. And this, as I said, this is a really good example of that. But you're right, William. It's difficult to teach that skill. But the people that come on here and we interview and win prizes have one thing in common. You know, they have this, what I call a photographer's brain, that they do think, you know, in these sort of in these ways, and they really think around the subject and how can I create a different image. And a lot of the time, you know, we don't see their failures. Of course we don't. And I bet you, like me, you know, we have loads of images that don't work. I mean, I bin most of the stuff I take. You know, I've become a lot more selective as I've got older and I've developed my own style, you know, my own photography. You know, I said most of the stuff just gets binned, and I'm sure it's the same with everybody. But they're, you know, they're thinking differently, trying different things. Yeah.
I mean, I've for the last 2 years, sort of, it was started by, massive lockdowns here in South Africa, where we had 5 weeks of being stuck to our own homes, where I was beginning to look at urban photography, something that I'd never even questioned. And that process of now nearly 2 years of doing that, in the beginning I was just copying what I saw other people doing, and then eventually you get to that stage where you start thinking differently, and I guess that's pushing yourself into those environments and just enjoying taking photographs, and eventually you'll find your own style, your own technique, your own ideas. As you say, you delete 99% of them, and then those handful that do end up being different or unique or just beautiful images is what makes the portfolio.
I mean, I've asked this of quite a few of the judges that we've got, but how many images do you think you take in a year that you're really happy with?
Yeah, well, I mean, personally for me, because it's that time of the year where it's entering competitions again, and it's normally sort of 20 images you can enter, and I'm always struggling to put 20 in, because I get to that stage where you're overly critical with your images, and eventually you're left with 5, and then you think, oh, now I've got to push some more in there. So if I finish a year with 5 good images that I'm really thrilled by, but even then, even those 5 images, if you look at them too long, I always find something wrong with them. So
well, is there such thing as a perfect image? Because it's subjective, isn't it? But isn't it funny? I asked David Tipling the same thing, and he said 4 or 5 images. If I get 4 or 5 images in a year, so this is how, and you are you're taking images all the time. You are what I would call a prolific photographer, and you're getting 4 or 5 images at the end of the year that you're really happy with. I think that tells you how self-critical, perhaps you are, and other photographers are. And these are the people that are doing well in the competition, I think, that have this sort of the same mindset. They're always pushing themselves. They're always so self-critical about their own work, and they're always producing the best stuff that they can. So anyway.
But I think also that's a process. When I was first got into photography, I thought every photo I took was amazing. And now it gets to the stage, I've just come back from 5 weeks in Botswana, and I've got 20-something thousand photographs that I need to go through. And if I end up with 5 or 10 that are great, and then probably 50 that I'll share on social media, that's fantastic. But it's not always been like that. And I think you become more critical as you go along.
Yeah, absolutely. Should we share our Gold Award winner? I think people might have guessed who it might be. I'm going to share this. Well, in fact, I'm going to bring Jan back, because you'll know it. The funny thing is that it never happened before, but it happened last month, where we had Momorad obviously won bronze and gold, and it's happened again this month. I mean, I'll let Jan in, but let's continue chatting about this as he joins. But tell people, William, that the judging process, you have absolutely no idea who's taken these pictures, do you?
No, I mean, it's completely blind. We're looking through so many images, and different people have different styles, and we might be able to speculate, but there is nothing. We are looking at the quality of the image and how good it is. There is no name associated.
So welcome back, Jan. We'll share your picture in a minute, but we're just sort of touching on how this sort of situation happens occasionally. It's happened twice in a row, which is unusual. But as I said, the judging process is completely blind, completely anonymous, and then you absolutely have to stick to the integrity of that. And it just so happens that occasionally photographers like Momorad last month with motion, and obviously you, Jan, with this month, and I'll share your image in a minute. I haven't forgotten to share that. The submission is very, very strong. And as you will see in a minute when I share this picture, there's no way that you'd even think that was part of the same portfolio, because it's so different to your bronze award winning image. So let me share this screen and I'll show you what I mean. So let me go ahead and share this. You'll see Daniela's lovely Toko toucan, and then we'll move that on and share the What stingray was this? You did tell me.
It's a cowtail
Cowtail
stingray.
Yeah, that's it. So, William, give people the sort of, the reasons behind this as the choice and why it stuck in your mind so vividly and so strongly.
Yeah, so I'll talk about the color last, but the initial things are the composition, how beautifully shaped the ray is within the shot. There's little elements like a circular bit of sand that's moving just above it. It's the patterns of the light reflecting through the water. And then you're just hit by this wall of color, but the color just amplifies all the textures, all the details. Then the light, shines through and breaks through that colors of blue. And it was just one of those images. Each image that we sort of selected towards the top 10 were all different in certain ways. Color played a different role. In this, the color is a single color that runs throughout the image. And that was just so unique and so different and amplifies what the image is itself. I mean, regardless of the color, this would be a beautiful image in black and white as well, but the color just lifts everything up, and it stood out from the beginning. It was always going to be in a position to get an award.
Yeah, but as I said, how different is this to the raccoon? I mean, we'll let Jan tell us in a minute how he's taken it. And there is a story he sort of gave me a bit of information on over an email, which I'm sort of waiting to hear a little bit more about. But isn't it so different, in terms of style, in everything about it? You'd never ever guess that this is the same person that took the raccoon. And I think that's testament to the skill of the photographer here, in the fact that, obviously, you are using different techniques. And in fact, even when you go back to your Balkan Anemone, Jan, that again was a that's a macro lens. That's different technique again. That's different subject altogether. And it just shows sort of how rounded you are as a photographer, and how you have this photography brain. So tell people a little bit about this image, and give us the story, because obviously this is a drone shot, which we could talk about drones as well, because that could be a controversial subject at times. But give us the background to this story and how you took the shot.
Yeah, I think it's indeed it's completely different, because the raccoon photo was part of a big project and it all developed by time. And yeah, I took this photo on vacation, so of course it's different. Actually, we just wanted to make some vacation in Germany, my family and I, and it was during the summertime. It was so expensive in Germany, and we were looking around at booking.com, and we were a little bit sad, because we said it's not possible. It's so expensive to make holidays here. And then we just looked up, just for fun. Okay, I will switch to the Maldives. And then
as you do.
Yeah, common behavior. Just switch to the Maldives, and then exactly. We saw, okay, it's not that expensive. How does it work? We saw very expensive islands and then very cheap islands, and then I just made a small research, and then we found out, okay, there are just local islands where no tourists are hanging around. And then we planned a vacation on the Maldives, and we spent some time on an island with no other tourists, only 1,000 locals, a mosque, a school, a store. It was just beautiful to see how the people are living there, and we were the only tourists. And wow. When we planned this vacation, I told my wife, okay, I need a drone. Maldives, beautiful island, beautiful conditions, I need a drone. So yeah, she said, is it necessary? Do we really need a drone? I said, yeah, we need a drone. So I just bought a drone, and then we flew to the Maldives, and I just started the drone. It was my first time. I had no drone before. And yeah, these were my first attempts to take photos, and since my early childhood, I really enjoyed to look for stingrays, sharks, go around some islands on vacation, snorkeling around, and it was always my big interest when we were traveling. And yeah, then I tried to spot marine wildlife with my drone, and it worked very well because it just flew high in the air, and then I was looking around. Okay, where are dark spots and patterns? And then yeah, I tried to take photos of these stingrays, and in the shallow water it worked very well, as long as there was no wind. When the wind was coming, it was not that clear, and the problem was I was only able to take these photos for around 1 week, because then the drone just fell into the water.
They don't like water.
Yeah, especially not salt water.
No.
That was not that nice, because I was following a spotted eagle ray very close to some mangrove trees, and I was flying backwards, and I knew, okay, my drone has sensors, and it was really new in flying drones. And my drone, it was a DJI Mavic Platinum Pro. Yeah, it has sensors, but only to the sides and to the front, not to the back. And I was flying backwards, as I didn't know. And then I just saw my drone rotating, and then it was blue, beautiful blue. Everything the same
For a
color,
second
wonderful.
or two.
Yeah, maybe two, wonderful. And then I was standing there and just shit, no. Then I went to this place. I found it was not very deep, and I had a wet drone. It was a very for me, and in my memories, it was a very long way back to my wife to explain her that my drone fell into the Indian Ocean. And her reaction was just I knew that it will happen. And but fortunately I saved the photos time by time, and so I was able to save all the photos I made before, and I'm really happy about these photos. I got the drone in the air one more time, but there was lots of smoke coming outside, and
you actually got it working.
Yeah, because I dried it, and I took rice and all the things you can read on the internet. I just tried my best, put it in the sun, get it really dry, but it's salt water, no chance. But I had it in the air one more time, then it started to smoke, and long story short, I have a new one for traveling around. And I really enjoy it. But
well done on being able to persuade certain people that you needed another one after that. But mind you, now having won this category,
it's a good argument.
Yeah, it's right. Absolutely.
And I bought the next one before we made the next vacation. So 1 year later, we went to Mexico, and I said, darling, can we buy a new drone?
Have you crashed that one yet?
No, it's still here.
No. Okay.
Almost. I crashed it almost, but it's still working.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say I've got a drone, but I haven't flown it in probably a year and a half.
Yes, same as because I don't enjoy it to fly around in Germany, because the structures are all, it's not, these structures in Germany are not natural. And where you can find natural structures and patterns and rivers, these are nature conservation areas, and there it's not allowed. And it's a good reason that it's not allowed, because otherwise everybody will fly there around.
I was going to get onto that, because obviously drones are a controversial subject. And we as judges will need to, I will need to discuss this with the judges for next year about, perhaps sort of looking at the rules. We're not going to obviously, because drones can produce some fantastic images that we've just shown, and there's nothing that you're doing here which is interfering with the wildlife. You're above water. I mean, however, I have seen images of birds coming off nests, for example, and obviously taken with a drone. I've seen mammals running away, obviously from the drone that's taking their picture, and these sorts of things, and that's where it becomes unacceptable. And obviously we as a competition don't want to encourage that. So there's a whole conversation about drones, but what I don't want to do is stop these amazingly artistic images that are taken in a responsible way. And there was another image for we'll come up, we'll see that in the highly commendeds in a minute. You know, that taken with a drone, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that picture in terms of its interference and its effect on wildlife. So anyway, we could talk about it all night, and but
Yeah.
you know, we do need to look at that.
But I think it's a really important thing because we really often see photos of flamingos, for example.
Yeah.
Always a big swarm of flamingos flying away. You can find it in every second photo competition.
Yeah.
And I think that the judges have to ask, how is the photo taken? Because if you see animals running away, flying away with a drone, I think you really have to ask. Because, for example, with the stingrays, it was beautiful because I saw them feeding on the ground. I have photos when they were just feeding around. They were just relaxed. It was really beautiful. But with mammals and birds, I think it's a very sensitive theme.
Yeah, it's a very sensitive subject, and we as a competition have a responsibility not to encourage the use of a technique which is going to have a detrimental effect on the very subjects that we're looking to photograph. So it's one of those tightropes again, and it's a difficult one to walk, but you know we'll have to walk it, because as I said, I don't want to do is discourage this sort of art, because you know that's an amazing image, clearly. I'm going to stop sharing this screen actually, just quickly, so we can bring you up large and have a proper chat. Let me just catch up with some comments, because I'm sure that, you know, this is going to be one of those subjects that people will feel quite passionately about, I'm sure. Right, we've had so many actually, so I'll start at the bottom and then I'll work my way back up to where we got to before. But Martin Ertner says, good job, Jan, congratulations. Rachel Piper, you'll remember Rachel, she was our winner from Abstracts with the Spider's Web. Well done, Jan, beautiful image. Brad James says, huge congrats, Jan, well deserved and inspiring work. Andrew McLaughlin's on. Hello, Andrew. I hope you're well. He says, hello, guys. Mo Murad, huge congratulations again, Jan. So much color in both subject. Oh, that right. Okay, so that's where we got to.
Thank you very much.
So, yeah, an amazing submission of images from you in this category again. You know, as we've seen in a couple of others that you've entered, and well deserved, I think. You know, well, no, for bronze and the gold award. You know, it's possible to do this. Other people can do this. It's you just have to do something different, something that makes the judges sit up and take notice, and that's what you've done with this submission of images. So that, you know, as I said, that was an amazing submission and a very, very well deserved bronze and gold award. So as I said to you before, and this is the second time you've won a gold award. You know, you'll go forward to the final, which we'll be discussing on Tuesday, as people already know, and we'll see. I don't know what the result of that's going to be. It's going to be an interesting discussion. So you go forward to the final with that image as well. And who knows, we might be talking to you again in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, why not? Thank you very much, Rob. Andrew. Thank you, William.
Yeah, Jan,
congratulations again.
It's been lovely
Thank
to talk to you. And you know, let's talk again soon.
Yeah, and if not in a couple of weeks, maybe next year, we will see.
Well, maybe, absolutely. Well, I said, watch out for the watch the live with I'm going to do with Josh next weekend, which will tell you all about, you know, what's coming next year. But yeah, but thank you for the support for the competition that you've shown. Well done on an amazing set of pictures. Yeah, we'll talk again soon, no doubt.
Sounds good. Thank you very much again.
Yeah, and thanks very much for joining. And yeah, stay safe, and we'll talk to you soon. Okay.
Bye.
Right. We're doing remove. Right, there we go. There we go. What? That's incredible. Wow. Well, yeah, I hope people have enjoyed those winning images. We've got a few more to show you. But let's skip. I'm conscious of time. You know what it's like with these things. We just chat and chat and chat, and we've been going for an hour and a half. Well, I just hope people are enjoying it. Let me share a screen with people if I bring the right one up. Where are we? Missed that one. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to share a screen of a sort of gallery, which is going to be on the website. Probably not tonight, probably first thing tomorrow morning, of all the winning images, but we'll have the highly commended and the commended in there as well. So we're not going to go through each of the commended images. We just, you know, we'd just be here till the morning if we did that. But I wanted to make sure that people were recognized, and people can see those commended pictures in a gallery view, and we'll mention some names. So let me share the screen with everybody, and we'll just run through those quickly. So let me share that one. So as you will see, hopefully the screen has come up. So these are the commended images. So congratulations go to Csaba Doroxi, Martin Ertner, who I know is on. So well done, Martin. Lovely image of a European adder. Paul Hermansen, well done to him. Lukasz Jablonski, who I think is on as well. So well done, Lukasz, on a lovely picture of a great spotted woodpecker. So Mary Ann Karen, so well done to you. Fantastic picture. Khurram Khan, our Silver Award winner in Backyard, of course, with a hognose, I think that snake's called. Istvan Krizak, with lovely autumn leaves and that lovely sort of flowing water. Very, very creative image. Tibor Litowski, who I know is another regular that comes on here quite a lot and watches our lives, with you know, a hedgehog. Somebody called Jan Pika. Don't know. You heard of him? Don't know who he is. Anyway, he's also commended. Well done, Jan, on a lovely close-up image of a leaf. You see what I mean? That's a different picture again. Anyway, you know, is there no end to this to this man's talent? Paul Richards, again, that's a different image for Paul as well, actually. Lovely wood scorpion there. So loved that image. Well done, Paul. And Simon Runting, who I know is on. Hi, Simon. Well done on your commended image of Scorp. Lovely. We didn't have that many bokeh shots, did we? We were talking about this. But yeah, that was, we love the bokeh in that image. Yeah, lovely. And Vance Solsith with a lovely common blue damselfly. I love the lighting on that. That was pretty dramatic. And Csaba Tokoli, who I know is on as well. So well done, Csaba, on the parrotfish eye. That's a lovely, colourful image, and just what the category was all about. So well done to everybody for your commendations. Stop sharing that screen again for a minute, and then William and I'll run through the highly commended quickly, and then we'll wrap up. But I think the first thing, actually, let's let me make sure I'm on the right place, because I think it's so what I'm going to do is I'm going to mention my choice now, and I'm going to share that screen before we get into the highly commendeds. So if I share somebody who I know is on as well, or has been, so Brad James, well done on this yellow warbler, and such a contrast in color. I just loved it. I just really stood out to me, this image from the, you know, the images that you selected, William. And I just that pop of color, that sort of contrast in color, it's just something that, you know, when I looked at it, I thought, oh, damn him, I'd love to have taken that. So Brad, well done. I would love to have taken that picture. That is a really beautiful image, and well deserving a founder's choice. So that'll go in the book, as I think I emailed you today about. So yeah, I've been designing the color spreads over the last couple of days. So yeah, that's in there. So look out for that. So Brad, well done. And thank you for your support for the competition, as you know, as we've said. So you know, it's really appreciated. So lovely image. So let's move on, and let's talk about the highly commendeds. And there's somebody who's picked up quite a few of these, and actually who's done very well throughout the whole course of the competition. He's been very consistent. And this is this gentleman who we did talk to earlier in the year on one of these sort of live events. Csaba Doroxi from Hungary. Well, this is a fen raft spider, so this is a big spider. William.
Yeah, I mean, yet again, I've said it a few times tonight, the variety and uniqueness of each of the images really took me aback. I mean, I expected people to be creative in what they enter into this category, but this is a prime example of an image that I didn't expect to see. It's using color in such a unique way, and it's just such an interesting image that makes you want to know more about the backstory. And I think that's a key to great photography is intrigue and storytelling. And I think this is an image that has both of those elements.
And I think this is one of these sort of cross polarization type techniques, which we'll come to again in a minute. So that's yet another sort of technique that's been employed. It's just I found that, as you say, the variety has been amazing. You know, we must cover some of these sort of techniques as well for people, I think, as you know, as we go through the course of, you know, the competition and developing these other things for people. So yeah, amazing. Well done, Csaba. I think the next one might be his as well. And this is going to make William laugh, and I'll let you work out why. Just look at the shapes, people, and concentrate on the bottom right corner, and you'll know why he's chuckling. But again, this is another cross polarization image where he's used that technique to really bring out the color, but to have this sort of eye to pick out these details, and again, something so completely different, sort of these ice and, you know, the sort of frozen plants. And
yeah, this was an image that took us all back, and I'm glad to say I wasn't the person who pointed out the bottom right-hand corner.
David Tiplin. We were all thinking it though. Come on, let's face it, we were.
What you're on about.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's the colors, it's the contrasting colors, it's the unique composition. This is an image that I've never seen before. And I think I'm always amazed at the art that people come up with. And it's just something so unique, so different. Yet again, it's looking at details and textures, and then the color just amplifies everything of that. It's such a unique image. And yet again, we've got a detailed plant image, and then we've got the bear image that balance each other out, and they had equal chance of being awarded because the plane is color, but the subjects, play a role in that as well.
Yeah, and it's open to a degree of interpretation, as I keep saying. It's sort of using that photography brain to think of something that's going to stand out. So anyway, the next one is Csaba's as well, and this is another drone image I was referring to. There's nothing wrong with this. You're not interfering with anything here, but well, come on, William.
I think this is an image that I don't even have to speak about. It's such a striking and unique image. And the three images, so obviously all three are Csaba's, but you've got insects, you've got close-up, macro shots of a patch of ice, and then you've got a drone image, and it's yet again back to like Jan's two images that were awarded. That are completely different, and it shows the creativity of some photographers. So it's not surprising that those names keep coming back up. It is blind, but we, good images.
But the thing is, with everything, the competition is about awarding the best images, and that's what it should be. And it's up to other people to draw inspiration from it. Because it's possible for anybody. I mean, these people aren't using cameras or equipment that other people aren't using. It's just they're thinking about it in a different way, and they're getting creative. So, as I've been saying, I just think it's, competitions are great for the development of, you as in me or anybody else as photographers. I've drawn great inspiration from photography. I wrote a blog on this. I mean, we've all been there I've been there and entered images into competitions and then got nowhere. And my first reaction when I first started entering competitions is, oh, well, that image should have won something, or it should have got, and that image is better than images they've awarded. What are these judges doing? And then you have to take a step back and you say, well, actually, I've got to be hard on myself here and think about it in a different way, and be more subjective about it and go, no, actually, I can understand why that image or that image wasn't as good as what was awarded. And if I want to do well, then I have to think about it in a different way. I have to improve what I'm doing, or I have to go about it in a more unique and artistic way, and I have to do my research on that competition a bit better. So, I think you take it as a positive rather than a negative. And it's just, I want to take people on a journey with this competition. Win, lose, whatever. And I hate that word lose, because it doesn't, it's not really appropriate. I want people to enjoy the journey. I want them to develop. Improve is a word perhaps that's not really appropriate. It's develop your photography and find a style. Take yourself down different avenues you never thought you'd go down, because that's what's happened to me, with being involved with competitions, is I've done stuff I never thought I would, because I've taken techniques I've learned from people, and given it my own twist. And that's what I want. This is the journey I would like people to go down with it. As I said, win a prize or don't win a prize, take something from it.
But even, myself as someone who's judging, a category, there's images that I've seen throughout this that some of them haven't necessarily received awards for whatever reason that may be, but that I've learned from, and I've taken those ideas and I would like to try and do those styles of photography. And so it is a constant journey of learning. And I was actually recently speaking to someone you might know, Richard Flack, who awarded a few times in bird photography of the year.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
We were talking about, how important and how much we love entering competitions, not necessarily for winning or even entering it, but being self-critical about your own work and being able to sit down and as we talked earlier, finding those 5 great images and going through your year and quantifying that to, a handful of images that you love and enjoy them, and being critical about why you think they deserve a position. And as you say, often, I've not had a great year for competitions. You get to the end of the year and you go, well, why didn't that win? That was a brilliant image. And then you see the winning images and you go, okay, I can sort of understand that's different, that's unique. And everyone's got a different opinion on what is a great image. So then you just reassess and you think about how you can learn, how you can improve, or even just improve that individual image a little bit more.
Yeah, but don't you sort of think, as you go through this journey and you have this development, you get to almost understand better what makes a great image. So when you take one, you're more confident about it being a good image.
Well, now that I've been doing judging for a few different competitions as well, it's changing my view on it, because I'm seeing that judging process as well. But as you say, you're constantly learning, you're constantly figuring out what you can do to improve, or what's right, or what judges are after. And I think that's why this competition is great, because we're giving insights into what we're thinking. A lot of competitions, you come back and it's just a sorry, try again next year email. This is actually, we're talking about why images made it. We're sharing the top 100, so you can get an idea of how close you got to getting an award. And being in the top 100, don't underestimate how amazing that is. Even in this category, we were talking 800-900 images. To whittle it down to 100 was really challenging. It spent several days of us going back and forth and discussing why we think certain images should be in there, maybe some that aren't. But it's a great achievement. So,
and I know these lives do tend to go on a bit, but it's because we want to share with the wild art community, with the people that are watching this, the process. We want to be open. We want to try and demonstrate areas where you can look at your own photography. Take something, I want people to take something away from this, whether you watch the whole thing, whether you scroll through various bits and pieces. But we take the time to do this because it's not a 5-minute process to have this discussion. There are little gems of information buried within these live broadcasts, which isn't done in any other competition that's out there. The people that are watching this and the people that pick up the video are having access to judges and the whole sort of competition process, which is unprecedented anywhere else. And that's why we take our time over it. And I'm not going to apologize for it going on for a bit, because I just think to cut it short doesn't do it justice.
Anyway. And I'm sure anyone still here this late and for this long will realize that a large degree of why it does happen is because we're really passionate about it. We're really passionate images that are awarded and photography as a whole.
And 2 hours goes by just like that. I mean, see what I mean? It just goes on. I told you that I spoke to David Tippling when we did our first live. I'll move it on to the next highly commended, by the way, which, yeah, here we go. He said, "Oh, we'll be done in an hour." I said, "We won't." Anyway, of course we weren't. Anyway. Yeah. Another drone shot, and this does include birds. So this is getting into that area we have to start being careful about. But you can see the birds are relaxed here. And this is another drone shot. And well, William, this is just another beautiful image and a very, very bold composition.
Yeah, I think it's yet again such a unique image. For me, it was the color palette, how it blends in together. You've got the heron, or maybe it's an egret. That's got
grey heron, I think. Grey heron, yeah.
So it's got the same blues that match with the bottom, or the blues and greens. It's just so unique, and the composition is so different. And it's, yeah, as you say, bold. It's not a composition that I would have done necessarily, but to get that wider scene and to fit those colors in, it's a compelling image.
I mean, and you never would have guessed that image was taken by the same person that took the frozen. I mean, you just wouldn't.
Yeah. And that's it. It's different styles and growing your own portfolio that I think is brilliant. And this is the great thing. Color fitted so well to all those images. So it's then going back to your portfolio and picking images that fit the competition rather than photographing for a competition per se.
I think we'll do a live at some point about tips, hints and tips. There's a lot in here in the lives we've done about entering competitions, but just try and condense it into 6 top tips about entering a competition and try and do it in a fairly condensed way. But anyway, we'll get on to those sorts of things next year. Right, let's see who's next. So Jason Gilbody. Oh man, this is another one of those. You just looked at that and you just well, I swore at this. I just damn him to hell. What a great image this is. Because you've seen a lot of this sort of thing, but not done this well. I mean, the whole image, this is as near perfect, I think, an image as you can possibly get.
Yeah.
So
this is an image that, I wouldn't criticize myself for having ever. There's no element to this that isn't perfect, and it's a perfect image. And I think, as you say, it's pretty hard not to love it. But it's also not, although it's I don't want to say a stereotypical image, but it's an image that we have sort of seen styles of before with leaves and either shadows or the animal on the leaf. But this is just from everything from the concentric circles that work their way from the right hand corner where the light's piercing through the leaves, to the color, to the details, and it's sharp all the way through from the eyes to the leaf. It's a stunning image. It's picture perfect, and you'd love it on your wall, in your portfolio. It's a great.
Well, and Jason is on. I've just seen a comment from him, so he's on. So Jason, damn you! Damn you, this is so good. No, that's one of those. I mean, I have developed an eye for what judges are going to pick out. I think you can tell when you go through the 1,000 images, and I see them coming in, and I earmark certain pictures, and I think I know that's going to do well, and I know that's going to do well, and that was one of them. It was, I knew that, and Jan's raccoon as well was another one. I thought, I know that's going to do well, and the stingray, those sorts of things as they come in, you just know, because they are the things that catch my attention when they come in. So Jason, yeah, that's a stunner.
I mean,
That's a stunner.
as Rob was sort of saying earlier, I mean, I don't want to give too much into the back sort of scene of the judging. So I think we definitely should do a proper live chat on that. But you've got a group with us, it was 4 judges or 3 judges, and Rob there, so making sure we don't fight each other in the back there.
So you'll play nicely. Yeah.
Exactly. And just, that discussion pushes you through waves of which images go into the top awards, and sometimes it's images that are completely unique and different that we've never seen. Some images like this, it's just a perfect image. It might not necessarily be a unique idea, but it's a perfectly executed image, so congratulations on that. And then I just love that whole process of just working to a point where you award certain images, but that doesn't mean that other images aren't as good as well.
No, well, they are. And as I said, we mentioned this earlier, you're talking about minute details when you get to this point about why something is awarded and then something just falls a little short. You're talking about really, really tiny little things. Anyway, sorry, I've been looking at the Facebook feed, and I'll deal with some comments in a second, but let's move on. Peter Hudson, we've chatted to Peter a couple of times. You'll remember that he had that wonderful swallowtail image in the bottom of a bucket in a backyard, and he also picked up a Cotton Carrier Award with a really beautiful backlit Roadrunner earlier in the year. I mean, again, I think it's pretty obvious why you picked this out, but explain.
Yeah, I mean, it's the filling of the frame. It's the splash of color just to amplify everything. It's the textures. It's the shapes. It's another one of those images that I wish I had taken.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing. If you want something in your own portfolio, then it's a blooming good image. So well done, Peter. And I hope all is well with you. I know he's just come back from Africa or something, I think. So I hope everything is well with you. Okay, what have we got next? And again, what another really, really different use of color. I mean, surprisingly so.
I mean, you can think about urban, and often urban, you're using light, you're using, street lights like the raccoon image of Jan's. Whereas this is using color in a completely different way. It's an animal interacting with flashes of color, and an image that I certainly have never seen before, and certainly probably will never see something similar again. Which is
it's pretty unique, and I think that's why it stood out, because you look at it, you go, well, I haven't seen that before. I haven't seen a bear taken in those sort of circumstances before, and it fits the category really well, because obviously the hose is the element of color, and it's really striking, and it's been processed in such a way that it really makes that color pop. So well done, Risha Isam from the United States. That is a lovely image, and well deserved, highly commended.
Risha, please comment about the whole backstory. We'd like to know a lot more about this. It's one of those images that I'm sure has got an interesting story.
I'll send it to you. She did.
Okay.
She did send me the story on it. So right, what have we got? Oh, and we mentioned Marianne Karen before. We showed that lovely that lovely image again. They're both American Avocets actually, but this one with, I think, what, City Lights. I did send her an email. She did a live with Scott Keys actually. I don't know whether you've seen Scott's show, but it's quite. Look it up on YouTube. It's quite entertaining. And she did a live with him a while ago, and I watched it, and where she was explaining, this is like a great salt lake, and there's a whole conservation and environmental message behind this as well, but I won't go into that now. And well, it's again, I said we didn't have many outstanding bokeh shots, I didn't think, in color, but this was one of them, wasn't it?
It certainly stood out, and I think this is an image that would work in light, it would work in color, it would work in space and environment, it would work in motion, because there's that element of motion in there. It's just such a strong image and such a unique image. I think one of the conversations that we had was whether we liked the movement within the Avocet or not. But actually, it's one of those images that things don't always have to be pin sharp. They don't always have to be sharp throughout the whole, birds, feathers, and everything. That motion adds something to the story and something unique and different. And it's playing with that. Once you get confident in being able to get shots sharp, then you start playing around with how to add movement and add texture and add, different elements. I think this is a prime example. And obviously, because
sorry, William, I'm just getting a refill on the wine.
Oh, that's good.
Thank you.
But yeah, I mean, yet again, just such a different image. And I think obviously it was photographed in low light, and hence the need for motion. But I don't think it detracts. I always have this argument about people are so scared about letting their ISOs go up or letting the shutter speed go too low. But if you get a shot that tells a story, then don't worry about grain, don't worry about movement, don't worry about all those elements.
Yeah, it's that storytelling element again, isn't it? So anyway, I'm conscious of the time, so let's as wonderful as that is, and it is, let's move on. And Andrew is on. I know he said hello earlier. So Andrew McLaughlin from Canada. Oh. Again, different use of color. We're into invertebrates again, and yeah.
Congratulations, Andrew. It's a beautiful image, and the colors, just the yellows and pinks, just perfectly, work together, fit together. The out of focus legs that move through the frame. It's a fantastic image.
My partner Jennifer has serious arachnophobia. She can't look at these things. I say, look at this picture, isn't it amazing? No, I can't possibly. But bless her. But no, what an amazing image, and a perfect example of the use of obvious color, and it's the color of the animal itself and the background and that sort of that contrast that made this one stand out. So well done, Andrew, on another amazing image. He's had a few highly commended in the course of the competition. So what have we got next? I think this is the last shot. So Kevin Sawford from the UK is a roe deer in a poppy field, and we had a few sort of things we had a few poppies and things in poppy and that sort of didn't we? But this really stood out, and I know is one of your favorites, William.
It's one of those. I mean, we've said it a few times tonight, where we're extremely frustrated that someone else got that shot so good. It just makes you want to not even attempt it, because it's that perfect example of an image that you've dreamt about. And it's the little elements. It's the poppy leaf of the poppy, or the flower petal of the poppy in its mouth. Eye contact. It's actually, often we're anti, animals walking away, but that turning around also just adds a huge element of like you're stumbling up like across the scene, and it's a fleeting moment. It's a stunning image.
It's that eye contact as well. That eye contact is really important. Images have to, a connection with the viewer is a really, really important element of a good image, and that is what makes it. It's the eye contact. It's the position of the of the deer. It's a little poppy, as you say, that poppy leaf petal in its mouth. And yeah, damn you, Kevin. That's really good.
Yeah, I mean, I'm lucky enough to spend 6 years in the UK, and it's the kind of image wandered around every weekend trying to get, but don't even come close to. I mean, I must go back and do everything, because
I tell you, I've got them in the field at the back of the house, but they're so unpredictable. You never know when they're going to, and they always turn up when the light is failing and you've got no light to work with at all. It's so frustrating. Anyway, so opportunities like that are pretty rare, and you have to spend quite a bit of time in the field to get something like that. So I'm going to stop sharing the screen now, because we've pretty much done it, and I'm going to just go back through some of the comments, because there will be a few. Oh, Ben Pullet says, lovely roe deer shot, Kevin. Well, you know all about roe deer, Ben. So yeah, it is a beautiful shot. So Andrew McLaughlin says, thanks, very much appreciated. No, thank you, Andrew. That's, it's a pleasure to look at all these beautiful images. It's amazing. Jan Pika the bear would have been a great photo for the backyard category as well. Well, yeah, it would. Well, in fact, I'm trying to play with this sort of urban backyard type theme, because backyard was all about reconnecting with nature, and it was kind of COVID related, and I thought, we'd be out of the sort of COVID mire by 2022. Looks like we probably won't be, but anyway, so I wanted to, this is one of the categories that is coming out, and we're going to replace with something else, and it's that urban theme. It's that sort of connection between, or the relationship between wildlife and human beings, but it's quite difficult to get a category title that kind of says it, other than, so I think at the moment it's urban, but if anybody's got any ideas on that, in the next couple of days, then do let me know, because I like these sort of one-word titles. They're quite fun, because they leave a degree of interpretation to for people on the, but it's quite difficult to get a word that really encapsulates that concept of that relationship between humans and wildlife, and where we overlap into their environments, and we cause issues, good, bad, indifferent, mostly bad, but I don't think we should shy away from that. So that's the category that I'm working on with Rebecca Nason. So anyway, we'll, if anybody's got any ideas for a category title that's better than urban, then do let me know. Okay, so Jason Gilbody says, haha, thank you both so much. I can't tell you how much I appreciate all those kind words. Well, we can't tell you how much we appreciated you entering that image, I have to say. Csaba Tokolu, no wonder he's talking about Csaba Dorossi, is probably the most creative nature photography in Hungary. Kudos to him. I don't think you can argue with that.
Yeah, maybe more than just Hungary.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, some of it. Well, look back through the top 100s. Look back through the comment. Look, you'll see his name coming up again and again and again. He's been very, very consistent. So Martin Erton says, thank you for your kind words. Congratulations to all. Brad James, thank you so much, Rob. I truly appreciate the kind words. Absolutely fine. Yeah, absolutely my pleasure. Csaba Tokolu says, thanks, we are watching, me and my parrotfish. Congrats to all. Lukasz Jablonski, congrats to all. And he says, thank you too. And Jason Gilbody saying, well done, Jan. So anyway, you can all see the comments in the Facebook feed. William, thank you so much for what has turned into a bit of a marathon.
Sorry, I'm guilty of that a little bit, but it's always so exciting to talk about these images and give people the credit they deserve. Every single one of the images that were entered were unique and different, and congratulations to everyone.
And that's what we're here to do. Watch it live, watch the recording, whatever. Hopefully there's lots of information in there for people. We're not just sort of celebrating winners. We're hopefully giving people an insight into the whole process and inspiring them with their own photography, and that is what WildArt's all about. So William, thank you so much. Hold on the line a sec, we'll have a quick chat before you sign off, but thank you everybody for watching. I know it's been a bit of a marathon, but I think you'll agree that it was worth it. So there's lots of sort of gems of information in there, and so obviously we shared some wonderful photography and some great insights from William as well, and some really lovely interviews with some of the winners. So thank you for sticking with it. I hope you've enjoyed it. Do remember that next weekend I'm talking to Josh Gillicky, and that will go up on the YouTube channel and the Facebook page. So we'll stream it live to both of those places, and I'll put that up tomorrow. But that will be next Sunday at 8 p.m. GMT. So look out for that. The following weekend is likely, well, it will be on the Sunday, the 19th, the overall winner of WildArt Photographer of the Year. We'll do that along with the Best Portfolio and the Young Award winner as well. So make sure you don't miss that. There's, you know, obviously some amazing photography which you've already seen, but I'm sure you won't mind seeing again, and come and help celebrate those winners with us. Look up the new YouTube channel. I said there's stuff coming up with Gail obviously on the 9th of January, but there'll be more things going up there very, very shortly as we look at doing more things in 2022. I think that's about it from me. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for sticking with it. And I'll see you all again next weekend with Josh Galicki, 8 p.m. Sunday. Okay, so thank you very much, and stay safe, everybody, and have a lovely evening.